Hey, welcome everyone to another episode of Wildlife with Ray. Today I'm going to take you guys to Alaska with me. So this is a trip back in spring of 2022. It was early June and I spent 2 weeks there. And I met up with my great friend Jamin Hunter Taylor, who lives up there, and he lives in the Anchorage area. So we did a lot of photography around that area. Then we also traveled out for some shoots for ourselves, both for scouting ahead of time when I got there, because him and I actually ran a group workshop up there. And so a lot of the photography you're going to see here is from that workshop. And then after the workshop, we spent about, I think I spent roughly a week, almost like about a week after the workshop, just doing some more photography. And then we actually met up with some other friends who live in the area and did a boat trip out of, I forget where. We did a boat trip to see some seabirds and stuff like that, so that was really cool. But yeah, an amazing trip. Here's just a very small handful of photos. And so this one might be a two-parter. I don't know yet. We'll see how long it takes to go through all of this. So let's get started right up here at the top. And when I first arrived, we went to a nearby park that Jamin has taken me to before. This was my third time in Alaska. Yeah, this is my third trip in Alaska. And then we did go again in 2023 without doing a workshop. And that was Emily and I meeting up with Jamin and Surgis, and we did Nome and Uktivik for that one. And then let's see, yeah, it's beginning of 2025 right now, and I'll be heading back again this coming spring. So last year in 2024, I skipped Alaska for a year, just took a break, had some other things going on, but heading back again this year and running some workshops up in Nome. So anybody who's interested in that, certainly get in touch with me. I have them sold out this year, but I'll be going again the following year, so you can get in on the list there. But anyway, let's start going through some stuff. I'll leave the settings up here and talk about it. So we're just photographing some stuff when this was like the night I landed too, which is the great thing. I think I got in pretty late, and then we just go out and start photographing stuff. And we actually caught a sunset, which I think is usually around 10:30-ish, something like that, which was really kind of fun. And yeah, some scalp up there, which were great. These widgeon, threw some fiery stuff there. And then we went out onto the beach nearby this spot, and yeah, this incredible sunset. There's Jamin poking his lens out from some trees as we snuck out onto this open marsh flat, working with some semi-palmated plovers that were nesting out there. Had some beautiful light for those guys. And then I'll photograph anything in this beautiful scenery. There's the sunset, there's the mosquitoes, the one downside, but other than that, it was beautiful. It's like t-shirt weather, you know. We had some green-winged teal cruising by, flying around out there, Arctic tern. There's some more teal again, just silhouetting them. There's me working with the plovers. Thanks, Jamin, for that shot. And yeah, here's something that was fun. I remember doing this. I remember seeing this teal, and I don't know if you can see here. Yeah, look at this habitat. This mud is disgusting. And so the teal were like in these pools out there. And so I figured if I silhouette it like this and just try to really highlight one of those pools, I can kind of, you know, hide some of that grossness. And it still shows, it's still not the best, but somewhat of a cool concept. This was what the sky looked like that night. I mean, this was, I think, the night I arrived, if I'm not mistaken. So incredible. Then we went to a nearby spot that has some nesting Arctic terns, had a blast with them. And then these guys are these trumpeter swans, actually. So some trumpeter swans with their cygnets, which was really cool. And yeah, had a really fun time. This was my first time ever photographing them. I think they were lifers for me at that point, or maybe I had just super mediocre shots. So it was an absolute joy to get to work with these guys. And this is my first time in Alaska with the 400-2.8, so I was definitely playing around with that, trying to get that low perspective, using the flip screen, because this marsh, I think we had muck boots, but you couldn't get in that far, you know. So yeah, but the light was incredible, as you can see, just playing around with that backlit stuff, playing around with the backlit shots on these guys. It was actually really neat seeing these bugs, just towers of these insects flying, but the birds were coming in with fish, feeding their young, so they dropped down. They had their nests down in this grass here, which is really cool. This guy caught a spider web on his wing coming out, or in or out, I forget which, and actually got that lit up in the backlight there. And then yeah, just playing around with some real fun, cool, different perspectives. They're such elegant terns, they really are. Just a beautiful, beautiful species. And when you get lighting like this, it's hard to not take advantage of it and just shoot away, and you end up taking thousands of photos. Here's a sandhill crane passing by, which was really cool. And so, yeah, I really try and concentrate on the diversity there. Maybe next day, I think. I'm going to be real unsure of, the schedule on this, but that doesn't really matter. We're just going to go through the photos and talk about them. This was a pre-capture shot. Funny enough, I was starting to use pre-capture. I had just started using it that spring with some warblers, and so when I went to Alaska, I was still playing around with it. And then I think Jamin got the same shot, just regular, just shooting like the high frame rate because he timed it really good. But yeah, this guy was willow flycatcher. There we go. Some yellow rump warblers in this beautiful soft open light were really, really fun. Tree swallows, and check this out. This one I shot on the phone. Just shot this on the phone, so 400 millimeter shot, one side on the branch, and then they're sitting on this railing on this walkway right there. So couldn't resist taking one with the scenery in the background just to show off what it looked like. Northern water thrush, trying to take advantage of this crazy spotlit effect in the area there. And then this, I think, female yellow rumped, which she just kept working this feather, trying to get it to use for nesting material, which was hilarious. A little bit more of the northern water thrush. And then this was really cool. We went up to this place to photograph pika, which is where we're going to take our group workshop. And so we went up there to go scout. It ended up being a ridiculous amount of snow, so we couldn't actually get up to where the pika were. I don't think we climbed up that day. We'll see as we go through these. But when we first arrived, there were snow geese there. I'd never seen snow geese in Alaska. Jamin had, I think, but not very often. And so, yeah, this was where they were. And again, we were planning on just scouting, and so we went when it was less than ideal light. It was pretty harsh. But you can see this little flock right there. There's Jamin tucked in right there, getting some shots. But we did get some cool stuff like this when they had moved onto this snowbank, and we got this scenery in the background, shooting this with a 24-70, just trying to get some scenery. Here they are crossing the road. They were just doing this on their own, and we were just kind of generally following them. And so that might be a little bit off timing there. Here was Jamin. He got this incredible shot. They were all just hanging out right there. He snuck up on them using this rock for cover, popped up, took some shots, nestled back in, and then we sat there for a while with them, which was really cool. And then all of a sudden they just blasted off, and he got this crazy cool shot of them flying over his head with a wide angle. It was really, really neat. We did go up a little bit, that's right, and got some of these ground squirrels, but I think we weren't able to go up all the way because of the snow. Or maybe we did, I can't really remember. I guess we did go up into the area. Yeah, because this was all on my own with Jamin, not with our group. So this one is a American pipit, I think. Yeah, American pipit, you can see them right there. And I was playing with the 100 to 400 here, really trying to show off just kind of the space that they're in. And so I was able to zoom in and get, here's 400 millimeter, and then here's 220. This one was further away. But it was really neat to just kind of show off the bird in its space there, and then also get a nice portrait of him as well, and see him out on this snow. And yeah, there's a little bit more of a habitat shot at 400 millimeter. So yeah, just a really fun habitat to play with all that snow and this beautiful tundra stuff growing out of it, just getting exposed again, trying to get the mountains in the background. Just a little running water breaking through the snow there. I just shot this little scene. Would have been awesome to have wildlife in it, but didn't have anything. Golden crown sparrow? Yeah, there we go. I'm tough on my Alaska species. I don't know them that well. Wilson's warbler right here. So this was just getting some sparrow and songbird portraits in this little forest we were in. Oh no, I'm sorry, it was right along that edge. That's right, I forgot about that. So yeah, we went up, shot some stuff, came back down, snow geese were still there. Then they started crossing the road here, which was pretty funny. And so I just shot them there. And then I saw some vehicles coming by, and I had this idea of trying to shoot the flock underneath this truck as it went by. So I was just like kind of down on a ditch on the one side. And I wish I would have gone with a little bit of a slower shutter speed, but I saw the truck coming last minute, had the idea, and didn't really have time to switch my settings. So that was what I got there. And I did get a takeoff shot as well, as these guys were moving around the area. Then this was a roadside bull moose, which was really cool. This thing, look at the muscles on that guy. He was intimidating. And it was really funny. We were heading to another park. Jamin saw this guy on the side of the road, pulled over, like found a pull off for us, and we started photographing him. And this guy was super chill. I think he was actually laid down when we first got near him. And then he eventually just slowly stood up and just started munching on stuff, just, you know, foraging the vegetation around there. But he was slowly coming towards us. And so we kept backing up, you know, giving him space. I mean, you can see here, this one was shot at 400 millimeter. I had the big lens on for this one. And he just kept coming towards us, and we'd back up, and he'd slowly eat some more, and then he would slowly come towards us, and he would come towards us, and he would do this like head swing thing. You could tell he was just kind of like, back off, guys, like keep some space, you know? And there was like a distance that he would walk towards us, like we weren't going towards him. We would back up and stay put. Then he'd go back to eating, and then he would make his move, come slowly towards us, and we'd back up again. And it was funny, like this dance we played with him. And eventually he came close enough, and then came out across, he decided to cross the road, which you'll see. Here's an example of that, sort of walking towards us, head down kind of thing. And he was in there just munching on these roses and stuff, so that's when he was more relaxed, you know. And you can see it's just like, he really looked relaxed the whole time, but you could tell it was kind of, the posturing and the movement towards us was a little intimidating. And then, yeah, he decided to cross the road at one point, and he just went out and did the same thing to this vehicle. He just stopped right in the road and just head down and swayed his head back and forth. It was really funny to watch. There he is coming out across the road. I guess he must have come out and crossed a couple of times, so it's kind of fun getting him stepping out into the road there. Swainson's thrush, beautiful bird. Northern water thrush, another Swainson's up on, I mean, the textures on these trees and the stuff you can get is pretty incredible. Swainson's thrush again. This was at this park, just stunning scenery. This is less than an hour. I mean, I think it's maybe like 20 minutes, half hour from where Jamin lives, and he gets to go out and see this. It's incredible stuff, man. Blackpoll warbler were there, so we played with them a little bit, had a kingfisher encounter, and then we went to, where did we go after that? Another place. I think this was where we were looking for red-throated loon. So this was all kind of scouting mission stuff, just trying to see where we were going to take our group. I mean, we had an idea of where we were going to take our group. We were just kind of confirming and making sure everything was going to work out nicely. No, I guess this was back with the terns again. Yeah, okay. So that's where, well, these actually, I think, were looking for that red-throated loon. We didn't find him, but I managed to photograph this phalarope and this yellow legs in this trippy water. You can see I was maxing out some shutter speeds though, huh? 32,000th of a second there. Pretty cool. Back to the tern colony where they kind of nest there, and there's a lot of other birds. It's just this open marsh that's really, really beautiful. Or I shouldn't say open, but open and grassy. And so some gadwall in there, some short-billed, maybe long-billed, right? What are the dowitchers they get? I don't know if they're short or long. I think they're maybe short. That's what I have it labeled as anyway. Who knows? American widgeon in there, some more dowitchers flying around. We went on to the other side to try and get some of these, plovers nesting out on this flat, but did find some geese there. And I was really trying to take advantage of the mountains back there. So you can see I went up to f/16, just trying to kind of show some of that. When I shot these portraits like this, this is an interesting one. This is a blend. So the foreground here was shot at 2.8. Because if I shot this perspective at f/16, the foreground was so kind of not smooth and buttery, and it just kind of was distracting. But this, like the mountain layers back there, just disappeared, absolutely disappeared. So I decided to shoot one shot right there. I kept the camera stationary. I was laying on the ground. It was handheld, but you know, I was like on a solid base on the ground there. Took one shot at 2.8 and then racked the aperture up to f/16 and took another shot there. And then I just blended in the top half from the f/16 version in post, and I was able to get this shot. So that worked out nicely. And that lighting was amazing. The sandhill crane came in, and I was really doing my best to show off that habitat. I think I had to kind of like run away to be able to get this, and I had to go vertical to show the height of the mountains there. But the lighting was just incredible. Just some gulls flying around. Again, this light was amazing. Some Arctic terns nesting out there as well. I believe they were nesting out in these flats. Here's a phone shot just showing you what it looked like. You can see that long shadow looking great. Sun finally came down into the frame, so shot a few of those. It was just too bright to expose it, so there was nothing much I could do at that point to expose both that sun and the bird. There's Jamin taking some shots out there, all muddy elbows from crawling around in this space. We had some nice redneck phalarope action as well, which was really cool. I did this one with pre-capture, so that's how I was able to easily get him taking off like that, because he took off, which was fast. And then I just pressed the shutter afterwards and got it. Interestingly enough, I got this published on, I think it was the cover of Living Bird magazine from Cornell. And I'd like to point this out. This is an interesting thing about resolution, right? So let me take a look here. This is, yeah, 2700 by 4086 pixels. So the normal resolution of this camera when you're shooting the full Z9, the 45 megapixels, is 8256 pixels on the long edge by 5504 on the short edge. But when you go into this pre-capture mode, it's JPEG only, number one. And it also, when I do it, the setting I use is to do 120 frames a second. And so it's a lower resolution. I think it's a roughly 1112 megapixel. So yeah, you get this smaller cropped in version that is 4086 pixels by 2724. So the short edge of the full RAW file is actually more resolution than the long edge of this cropped down image. And as you can see here, I shot it horizontal, and for a magazine you need it vertical. So they cropped it vertical out of this and published it. And so I got a 11 or 12 megapixel image published on a cover that was shot horizontal and cropped vertical. And so it's just an interesting example to me of how we really, for most use cases, a lot of use cases, even getting something printed full size on a magazine cover does not need the resolution of these cameras, like these crazy high resolutions. You know, you can get away with much lower. And I shot at JPEG too, you know? So it was flatter light, as you can see here. So I'll show the image again. So nice soft light. I exposed it properly. So I didn't have to mess with it too much. And so this was not a high dynamic range image, like something crazy backlit or strong sun side lit or something like that, you know, I really would want the power of a RAW file. And listen, if I could shoot RAW on this, I totally would, but it's not enough, the fact that it's a lower resolution JPEG, to prevent me from using it when there's a really good use case, because you can do amazing stuff with these files if you shoot them right and things come out sharp and stuff like that. So just an interesting little side note about that. Shot some regular portraits of these guys swimming around, and then they were really friendly and being in the area, so I threw on the 24 to 70 and shot some at 24 millimeter, really showing off this incredible marsh habitat in the background like that. Here's some phalaropes flying. So got a dowager to come in on this log as well. They really like this one log. It was just like floating in there, place for them to perch. And so, yeah, it was really neat. And then I'm trying to think of when, you know, every once in a while I do actually photograph a bald eagle. This was when we were up trying to photograph some mountain goats. That's great. And we got to see them, obviously. Got this little guy. Look how cute that thing is. Yeah, really, really fun. So fun, isn't it? Just an adorable little thing. And they were curious about us. This is one of my favorites. This guy just standing out there. Oh, actually, were these, wait, what were these? Oh, these were doll sheep. Yeah, these are female doll sheep and a young one, not mountain goats, sorry. Yeah, that's right. I was trying to think of what we had photographed there. Look at that. That's where that 100 to 400 really shines, huh? Incredible stuff. And then just trying to show off this yellow rump in the top of the mountains there. This was all the same area. That's what it looked like. And in fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, these are some of the doll sheep back there. So we were playing in and out of the light, but there was enough clouds that came through at certain times that we were able to take advantage of it. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this one rock wall was completely in shade. So some beautiful colors, and I love the big dominant crack through it in this one. I was trying to take advantage of that and composed it a few different ways just to try some different stuff. There's this young guy again, some golden crowned sparrow. This is one that, let's see, 150 millimeter, then 100 millimeter, moved in and was able to show off just a little bit more habitat in the background. So I remember specifically being able to do that with this guy. It was really fun. And yeah, just played with some foreground as well. I should have honestly closed down to show that habitat a little bit more, but this background behind him might have gotten messy, so it works out in the end. Golden crown, oh man, what is this guy? Yeah, orange crown, geez. Orange crown warbler. It was right there, it was somewhere in there. This is one of those things, one of those scenarios to me where this tree is very bold. It really is, but I kind of like it, you know? A lot of times that kind of stuff is distracting. I think originally I'd shot some images without it, just cropping in or going vertical or something like that. Because I think if I went vertical and flipped the teleconverter in, I could have gotten rid of it or moved to the right. But there was something about that showing in there that just, I don't know, it like helped to show off that forest kind of thing. And then I got some other nice portraits of them anyway. Playing with pre-capture again, just getting these guys taking off. I think this was a Swainson's as well. Yeah, another Swainson's thrush. This is one I really love taking off towards me. Some more orange crown warbler, chickadees in there. Townsend's warbler showed up. Olive-sided flycatcher, yep. So that was really cool playing with this. This was Jamin's idea, actually. I was shooting it like this, just trying to avoid the snow. And then he had shot it in that snow patch, especially when the sun popped out, and showed me a version. I was like, damn, I got to try that. So I found my own snow patch and tried it. But yeah, I got to give him credit on that one. Some red pole, I don't know if this was common. Yeah, common red pole, which was really cool. And then back to that marsh. Now, I don't know. I'm trying to think if this was, I don't know if this was when we started the workshop yet. Maybe not, but man, the light on this evening was incredible. So got the fallow rope again. Here's some more ducks flying through. These guys are ringneck, yeah. Back to the terns. It's hard to pass up these Arctic terns. They're such charismatic characters. Now, this is another interesting one. There's a road sign here, and there's like a metal pole just sticking up, and it's been there forever. This is where everybody kind of goes to photograph these birds at this particular location. And the year prior to this, Jamin had the idea, he's like, let's go see if we can find some good perches and just kind of stick it in, because it's kind of like an open pole, so you can stick stuff in it and just let it rest there. And so we did, because the terns were always landing on this metal pole. And so we just went and found some nice driftwood across the street, brought it back, put it in there, and now they land on that instead because it's higher. And then you can get a photograph, a nice portrait of them with a natural perch instead of sitting on that metal. So all the photographers locally certainly thank Jamin for taking that step. And I think every so often it gets switched out now just to mix things up for all the locals. But anyway, we noticed they were really friendly on this particular day, which Arctic terns can be quite aggressive, especially when you're in their nesting area. But what we noticed here is they were just being friendly because I think there was a lot of people around. They're used to people being around. And so if we did a really slow approach, we were able to get in and we started shooting. This one's shot at 24 millimeter. My goal was to show off the habitat there because, you know, a lot of times when they land there, we shoot. In fact, I think you've seen some. I don't know if I have it right here. No, I guess not. But earlier I had some of them sitting on a perch just frame filling because you can get a crazy close, beautiful tight portrait of them against this dark green background on the other side. So super clean backgrounds and you can get great shots, but it doesn't show off that habitat. So, you know, Jamin and I started playing around with this 24 millimeter stuff and got some that we're really happy with, just showing off. The clouds were nice, the light was dramatic. Here's another spot. We actually stuck this one in the water there too for them to land on, just for something different, a different background. Fox sparrow, this is another whole park we went to and we ended up not finding much there, but right at the end, Jamin being amazing again, we were driving around and he found this. He saw this in the forest from the vehicle while we were driving. And look at this adorable little guy, little baby moose. So this was an amazing encounter. It was just me and him. We had these guys in this beautiful forest. Mom and the calf in this forest. Look at this. She had just stood up. They were both kind of laying down. Mom stood up and she shook off back there. And so all of this is like fur falling off of her. It was just raining down. And so I got this shot of that in the background, which is kind of crazy. There's Mom, you can see looking in. So this one I liked, the baby calf, and then you can actually see the mom's leg, but this is kind of sad. Like, look at all these bugs just attached to them. Like, ugh, that's rough, man. But yeah, really, really neat to see this guy in this space. And we got a ton of great photos. We obviously kept our space because this is one of the most dangerous animals up there, right? A cow moose with a calf. But we just really took our time getting in, watched their behavior. They were super, super chill. We gave them plenty of space. I was always shooting with the longer lens for this stuff. Threw the teleconverter in for this one to get a little closer. The little guy was kind of curious at times too, and you can see she was keeping an eye on us. So that was a fun encounter. It really was. Off to the nearby lake for this crazy red-throated loon that's been there forever. He's super, well, I'd say super friendly. Friendly meaning he comes close, but the thing's actually very aggressive. What's really cool is because this bird is just bizarre, I think something's really wrong in its head. It it swims right over to you when you show up there. And so you can photograph like this 24 millimeter. Here's some more playing with the 24 to 70, just trying to show off some, interesting takes on this bird. Here's the 100 to 400 from straight overhead. I really love this shot. It's one of my favorites. Just a very, very unique perspective. So I was standing up on a dock just looking straight down at him as he swam at me. And that's the thing, like he'll come in so close, he'll kind of strike at you. Something's wrong with this bird, so you have to give him space. So you kind of have to be careful, or else you might get, kind of pecked at by this bird. But yeah, I was really trying to play these overhead ones. I noticed there was this shine on the top of his bill, and so I started playing with just some interesting macros and details of just the bill there, trying to get him looking so goofy. Looking straight in like that is pretty wild, huh? This one I really like. I went with a darker exposure, just trying to get the sheen off of that bill against the water. A plane took off, which means this guy takes off and tries to chase it. He's really bizarre, so got him flying back into land. And then I think this is a whole new location. Green-winged teal we had, pretty friendly, flying back and forth, so got a few opportunities with that, which was cool. Black-billed magpie flying through, chickadee nest, so got him coming out of there. This was another pre-capture one, because, as soon as you would see his head, boom, he's out. And so I just focused on it, waited for him to take off, and then got the shot like that. We got this cool Wilson snipe back there on this amazing textured stuff. So had a lot of fun with him. What a perch, huh? Really, really cool. Back to the swans. They're so pretty. A tern landed nearby, and then mom or dad there freaked out, that's for sure. I was none too happy. Boreal chickadee, I think? Yeah. Little boreal chickadee, another Wilson's warbler. Cute little guy trying to play with some foreground there. Yellow rump takeoff with pre-capture, some white crowned sparrows, another yellow rumped. Here's a Wilson's warbler takeoff with pre-capture, orange crown warbler again, playing with some real nice I love that little perch. I remember getting that dark background when it all lined up. These guys were tough in this particular location. And then, yeah, playing with these guys. This was in Jamin's backyard, I think. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Then we were back at another park. This, I think, was the start of our workshop, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because we had these redneck grebes. Beautiful, beautiful evening. Yes, this was. I really wish I had gotten focus on this. I blew focus on it. I don't know what happened, if it was last minute. I think that's what happened. I wasn't paying attention, and then I saw him going after this insect, because look at this. Like, how cool if I would have had that in focus. The lighting and background, everything is kind of a mess, but what a moment, huh? Redneck grebes, 100 to 400 coming into play there. Here's those little ducklings coming by again. They swam right by us after they attacked that. Here's a Arctic tern with some beautiful background. Then we took everybody out for these plovers as well out in the mud. Had some beautiful light as well, which was really cool. I'm not sure what this gull is. Oh, mute gull. There you go. Stunning light on that. I'm going to take the settings off of that just so you guys can appreciate it. Here, I'll show them without me on the screen, but damn that light, huh? Oh gosh, I love shooting light like that. It's just incredible. It's so nice when it works out. And then we finished up with some beautiful alpenglow on the mountains in the background and just some birds flying around that. So just really tried to take advantage of that. And then I think that was it for day one of the workshop. Then we took everybody back to see the Dall sheep. Got a few more shots there. Yeah, this was another one I really liked. You see this guy up there and then balance it off with these crazy snow-capped mountains in the background. They did come in a little bit closer this time, so we definitely got some more opportunity with them, which was kind of cool. But the yellow rumps and some of the other species were in there. And we took everybody to see the Arctic terns. So you can see I'm definitely shooting the longer lens here. There's our perch that we set up there, and you can just get some beautiful stuff as they come into land or just perch on that. Then I noticed this. This was something really fun to me. On the one side where all the birds are mostly, that's where everybody's attention is. We're all sitting there. There's a road right behind us and cars whizzing by, so it can be kind of loud. And so obviously you're shooting towards the pretty scenery. But I noticed these birds landing on this railroad track, and between us, the cars were driving. So bird, road, and then us. And it kind of dawned on me, I wonder if I can do something interesting with this and play around. So I did. I went to 50th of a second here at 7.1 and tried to time it when a car was going by, just to try and get that interesting kind of story of where these birds are hanging out and spending their time and, you know, living, really. And so I even got one, so then back to a close-up portrait and then went back to here. I even got one, I was trying to do this like right through the window. I was focused on the bird and then let the car drive through and then got this shot. Again, I think this would have been better with a blurred, so I should have went slower shutter speed, but it kind of worked out. Got some of these guys flying around, and then it was cloudy for a while. The sun broke through. Drama city. It was incredible drama. So we had this spotlight of sun hitting our birds. Our backgrounds were stormy and cloudy like this. Look at that. Just incredible. At that point, I definitely threw on the 100 to 400 so I could do a little bit wider and really show off this habitat. And here I was playing with some foreground. Hindsight, I think the foreground kind of failed there. I think just the clean, stormy sky would have worked better. And thankfully I shot one like that. And this was one where, you know, here I was just trying to get as much sky as possible. Here, I remember just lining them up right in that little hill, that mountain back there, and just kind of having that kind of go right over the bird's head like that. And the drama in this was incredible. The sky lit up out the other way, I think, at that point. I think this was all the same night. Yeah, there's the railroad tracks. We're playing around over there, back to the perch, just trying a bunch of different stuff. The light was just in and out, so much drama. It really was pretty. There you go. That's the setup, right? So you get that break in the sky right when the storm clouds are clearing out. Just looks amazing. Some beautiful light for these birds coming in. There you go. There's Happy Ray out in the wilderness of Alaska. There's a couple of our workshop people out on the flats coming back in. And then right after sunset, this happened. Sky went berserk. That's the only bird. It's the best I could find was a gull in that space. I had to shoot that at 560 just to get it. There was nothing flying close, unfortunately, because it would have been amazing to have birds flying right by. There's a little bit better, but I like this version of the sky, the sort of vertical or wider, just showing more of it. And so I would have loved to have had a bird closer instead of like this cropped way out, you know. But yeah, then the glow started hitting the mountains, just doing all kinds of different stuff here. So you can see, trying to keep the ISO down here as it got later, I went down to 40th of a second, you know, just to manage that ISO, because why not? Keep it nice and clean. I love the textures in the grasses here though. Yeah, this was a fun perch that this guy landed on. Some of these guys still flying around. The sky was still on fire, trying a bunch of different stuff. Then we took everybody to see our crazy friendly loon. Got some shots with him, and then back up to see the pika. I don't know what this guy was. I don't even know if I have Arctic ground squirrel. Okay, that was a ground squirrel running around out on the snow, which is kind of fun. Got some golden crown sparrows up there. Here's another slot. I just shot this on the phone just to show off the scenery up in this mountain pass that we went to. There's the pika. You can actually see a little bit of that. It's really cool. It has some of that pinkish tinted snow from some bacteria up there, which is neat. One of my favorite magpie shots I got. And there's, again, is the habitat up there, and there's some of our workshop people. I think that's Jamin actually working with somebody up in this just amazing place. It's so cool to be up there. It really is. There's those little pika guys. And these are, what are these guys? Collared pika, that's right. So not the American pika we get down in, more in the States, you know. Up in Alaska, they get these collared pika. So a slightly different species. Some scenery up there. I don't even remember where the heck we were going to get this stuff. Yeah, this was taking the group up into the Denali Highway. So we're up there to kind of explore the vast open tundra space. Got some bald eagles on the way in. So we would just basically drive along the roads and stop every so often and shoot stuff. So I got some red pole here, and this is one of those scenarios where, you know, make sure I close down to show those mountains, like down up to F11, to be able to get some detail on those mountains in the background. Wilson's warbler, same thing. I think this is gray-cheeked thrush. There we go. Yeah, and they were really common up there. American tree sparrow. Look at that scenery, huh? Incredible light. I think there were forest fires nearby too. Nearby, meaning not anything that fully affected us, but it was affecting the sky, because we were getting this kind of stuff in the sky. It was really eerie looking. And we actually found a gray-cheeked thrush singing out right at sunset. And this was late night stuff too. So yeah, really fun silhouetting him in that sun and just playing with some different, like the colors were amazing. Yeah, it just looked like this. Just pastels off to one side, just soft, eerie light. And then their call echoing out in there is just crazy as well. So that was really fun. Yeah, just showing off some scenery here. There, got him lined up with the sun. It's kind of cool. Yeah, amazing, amazing stuff. I remember being so pretty up there. Some greater scaup up there, long-tailed duck, more phalarope. This guy, I think, came into, yeah, he swam into an amazing spot. And then I think it was this one, yeah, we had some, these I think are tundras. Yeah, tundra swans flew in and then flew out of this lake. So got some photos of them cruising around. There's an American widgeon. Yeah, we got these guys floating around out there. And then, like I said, they took off and they flew into this pond that we were laying on and then just as quick flew out. The only bear sightings we had, grizzly bears way out in the tundra, like nowhere near us, but really neat to see like the coloration difference, like a super dark and really light one. But yeah, definitely some big ones. So kind of good that we didn't see them that close, although it would have been nice from the car, you know. Playing with some redpoll, some beautiful light up there. The light is challenging for sure. Getting it to really where it just, if it's a clear day out on that open tundra, you get no shade. And so there's just nothing to work with all day long. So, you know, you kind of hope for some bit of clouds or overcast light. But yeah, it was this one, Barrow's. Yeah, Barrow's goldeneye. Beautiful, beautiful bird. Just trying to play some different stuff with them. This is one of my favorites against the ice like that. I really like that goldeneye there. Yeah, just happy to have some scenery to play with, trying some different compositions. With this kind of stuff, some backlit stuff to show off the glowing willows with the yellow warbler. Some willow ptarmigan, yeah, willow. Yeah, these guys were really friendly, right along the side of the road, really cool. Some flew in. There's Arctic warbler, some nice mountains in the background, black pole warbler. Yeah, just an amazing time up there in that habitat. It's just nice diversity of birds. The scenery is stunning. Here's this white crowned sparrow. So I shot a bunch of close shots on these rocks just to show off those textures. And then because I guess, I was using the 400-2.8 here. And then, I guess I stuck with it. I didn't have them. I must not have had the 100-400 with me because I thought it would have been great to show off this habitat back there. But I still went up to f14 just to be able to show off some of those mountains because they're so far away. That's the thing too. You know, out on this vast open tundra up on the Denali Highway, the scenery is just so expansive that it's really hard to get a sense of the scale until you see something like that and how far away those mountains are in the background. So even at f14, they're still kind of soft, you know? There's the habitat up there. This was actually at the place we stayed. These, were they cliff swallows? Yeah, we're just building their mud nests right outside. So got to do a whole sequence of shots with these. I think this was mostly just me and Jamin shooting this. It was really cool to see that behavior, just bringing the mud back in and building it and taking off out of there. Yeah, so fun times, back with the white crown sparrows and then some more willow. I think, oh no, these are rock ptarmigan. Jamin found this bird for the group, which was really cool. And so we got some nice portrait of him. And then actually, I think this was the one that we got. Yeah, we got this takeoff. Another Arctic warbler with some beautiful pastel tones, and then back to the rock ptarmigan. And I think, look at him strutting his stuff up there. I actually really like this shot. I don't know why I never shared it. I really should. I'm going to set it aside right now for me to maybe share in the near future. It's really fun. I like the strutting, the light. Yeah, pretty cool. There you go. That's what it looked like that morning. This was a sunrise, freezing cold. Cold and windy up there, but just a beautiful morning, like these pastel tones. This is what it looked like when we were shooting this guy, just that little bit of glow coming in. You can see the sun just coming up there. There's the group. Jamin took this selfie. We had the rock ptarmigan. I think he was like right down in here or here maybe, something like that. Yeah, there he is. I shot him with the phone. Just cursing myself that I did not bring a wide angle lens up there. I mean, you never know. How could you anticipate, right? But my gosh, if I would have had a regular lens, like in a good camera to shoot this with, it's not bad with the iPhone, but the iPhone just never resolves the sun very well there. It kind of always makes a mess of it. So yeah, and I think if I'm not mistaken, I was shooting, yeah, well, there you go. I was shooting the big lens. So I don't even know why I didn't bring the 1-4 on this one. It seems kind of stupid, but whatever. Red-throated loon out there in some space. There's some more habitat shots just showing that frosty tundra out there. Another moose we stumbled upon, some more Arctic warbler. Back to, I think, another mugel. Yeah. Yep, this was a cool spot. And then back to the terns. There's the terns in some much more dramatic light. We went at a different time of day. I think it was a morning, so we would get them backlit and play with some rim light on them as they flew in and landed on the perches. Really cool. Yeah, it's a good time there. Some ducks. We went to another pond, found some nesting redneck grebes, which was really cool. So I got to play with them. Yeah, look at them building the nest there, catching some fish. Got some mallards all lined up there, some ducklings, had some fun with that. We're laying there with all these ducks, and all of a sudden this baby moose just walks out into the water right in front of us. The light was kind of blah. It was a little harsh, strong sun, so that was kind of a bummer, but yeah, still got some ducks swimming around with them, and then it peed out there. I remember that. I think I cloned it out of this. I think that's why that awkward pose. Then it just disappeared. We never saw the adult. We never saw the parent with it, which was pretty funny. Back to the mallards, just trying some different stuff with them. Got a hairy woodpecker there. I like this one. Resting like that, kind of high key. Eyes open is nice too. There was one pair that had some babies. So this is the only baby grebes I've ever seen in my life of any species. Those little zebra heads, but horrible light and far away. This was 560 millimeter cropped quite heavily. So bummer on that. Killer light back to our red-throated loon. I remember I took one particular guy there because the other group went to shoot something else, and then they met up with us later. So we started here and just got some great light, beautiful portraits with this guy. Some really fun bokeh there. Yeah, look at that. Really fun time. And that's because, so this is where he hangs out. Here's an iPhone shot of him coming right at us, coming up on land actually, and then I had to quick get out of the way. But it's a seaport, and the cool thing is, like, all of this reflected stuff is just light shining off of like some of those planes and buildings and stuff like that in the background, and then into the water. So it was really cool to play with that kind of lighting. There you go. Look at him. That's how friendly he was with the group. Pretty wild stuff, huh? Yeah. And then I think that was it. I think that was a wrap up on the workshop, because this is now me and Jamin. I think this is a Lincoln sparrow. Yeah. Me and Jamin started doing some shooting on our own. So we went back to a local park, did some fun stuff there, got a grouse, spruce grouse. There we go. That's the name. I kind of totally forgot there. With some babies, super adorable. Look how cute those little guys are. So we got to shoot them. That was really exciting. This hen then went out. So we walked into this spot not having a clue those birds were there. They were just tucked in somewhere, all quiet. And then all of a sudden, we were just walking the trail through this park, and they just explode. The adult flies out, scares the hell out of us. And then all the little chicks, which is a really interesting thing about grouse species. I think most grouse, but definitely these spruce, and I'm pretty sure ruffed grouse, the chicks can fly right after they're born, like instantly. So they're these little tiny puffballs, and they can fly. They can't go far, but they can fly enough to just kind of get up in the air and get away. And so the female takes off, and then there's just little chicks like rocketing everywhere. And we're like, what the heck? So we start kind of slowly finding some of these chicks, photographing some of them. And then mom moves off to this one area up on this branch here that you see here, and she starts calling them. And so we stayed put, because we're like, if she calls them and they all go up on this log, like we've got this perfectly horizontal birch that would look amazing. But I started playing with some foreground here as well, and just getting some portraits of her, and it never happened. They all came towards her, and then she went down to be with them. So we didn't get that shot, but it was like one of those almost where you're like, come on, do it, you know? Like you can imagine the shot kind of thing. So here's some greater yellowlegs defending their territory, being all loud and obnoxious as they like to be. I like this one a lot. Found a nice foreground pocket for that. So this is another great example of what I really like to do with these birds. You know, I found this one, got a decent foreground, but it's a little too out of focus. I mean, it gives a nice dreamy look, but it doesn't give kind of the texture that I'm after. So played around with it a little bit more, kept moving around, found another opening, shot him as he was doing this flappy thing, and then just another portrait. So this opening, a little bit darker foreground, but again, still not ideal. And then I found this. And this to me is where it really gets dialed in. And I think, yeah, you can see I was able to photograph a couple different compositions here, find some really nice openings. Now we're really getting the texture in play and having a lot of fun with that foreground. And that's something I absolutely love to do with these types of things, you know? So there's me out in the forest doing some moving around. In fact, I think it's just out of sequence here. Oh, I thought this was maybe with the moose, but it's not. I guess this was in that that space. I don't know. Oh, there you go. Photographing this bear. That's what we were photographing. Yeah, we found this black bear. Got like one shot and then it was gone. Yeah, so there's me working that because, right, this was with the big lens, yeah. So thanks for Jamin for getting some behind the scenes. Found an American dipper somewhere along the way. There's Jamin working with that dipper. Yeah, that was really cool. This was right before we went out on the boat trip. So we found this eagle and then we're just waiting to meet up with our friends. So just shot him. There's out on the boat, some beautiful, beautiful scenery, incredible coastline, some sea lions all over, tons of birds, gulls, tufted puffins, which were really neat. That was my first time ever seeing tufted puffins. So they're such a strange looking puffin, but I was really trying to photograph them with the scenery in the background, and then just showing off the gulls, the sea lions, some more silhouettes of a tufted puffin, the guillemot, which I think are these a black guillemot. Okay, I couldn't remember if they were black or pigeon up there. There's some more guillemot. The water, look at that watercolor. We had harsh sun coming in and out sometimes, so that was tough, but when it did come out, it did light that water up and make it look beautiful, so that was nice. And it worked quite nicely, as you can see here, for backlit with this horned puffin. Pelagic cormorant, and this is mainly what we were trying to do. All the birds were flying in and out of the colonies along the rock faces there. Shooting them even when they were perched on the rocks was kind of blah, because we weren't close because we're in a boat and they weren't allowed to get that close. Plus you'd be shooting up right into the rock shoreline. It just wasn't working. So it was pretty much flight shots or maybe some stuff on water, or these guys were pretty cool to get, the sea lions, because they're gigantic, so you could shoot them from a distance, you know. But you could do some stuff like this, which I think were pretty neat. And we did see some mountain goats come up. A whole family of mountain goats came out. Got this adult with a young one there, which is pretty cool. But obviously, I mean, way far away, top of the cliff kind of thing, you know. I think these were, yeah, 560 millimeter shots, cropped in a little bit maybe. But this was the other thing you could do. When the light was decent like this, softer, a little bit of a cloud cover, the water still had that beautiful color. You could get some of these birds taking off around the water and then just flying around. There's a horned puffin. The previous one was a tufted. Man, they're not too graceful getting off out of the water, are they? And then the sun would pop back out again. You kind of had to work it, and it was challenging. There's some harsh light on this guy, but really neat to see a pelagic cormorant with full breeding plumage. That's what I was trying to say. And then I even clipped his wings on that one. This one I like, yeah, just a little bit of drama, soft backlight against the shaded rock wall. Like, that's the kind of stuff I was after. Or some of the ones earlier, like you saw, where I was just trying to show off. That's another great one, just solid black background. I really dig that kind of look. And then they're in the soft light at that point. It was either that or just try and shoot out into this scenery. We did get a humpback whale breaching. I missed the full breach. And then just caught this at the tail end, but that was the scenery in the background, which was a bummer. I had just moved from one spot to another right when this happened, and so I was walking on the boat and missed it. I was like, oh, I couldn't believe it, but that's how it goes. Jamin and I went back to try and get some more Townsend's warblers, and then goofed around playing stupid photos with the lens there, and that's it, guys. So there, I guess we did get through everything. I didn't think I was going to get through that so quickly, but that kind of ended the trip there. So here, I'll take you back to show you some of my favorites, and then let me make sure, yeah, that was it, 400 and some. It's a lot of photos we just went through. So not too bad, we got it done in under an hour. So thanks so much for joining me on this. I hope you guys enjoyed this trip to Alaska. Man, I can't wait to get back. It really is an amazing place. And thanks again for the feedback on these videos. I know I've been getting a lot of great feedback on these, and I'm glad you guys are enjoying seeing me share these and some stories, and seeing some of the variety that I try to capture when I go on these different trips.